Who's calling the shots here? Have they really thought through the repercussions? Let's see what the American people have to say on the absolute insanity of letting men play on women's sports. So again, Psaki defends order allowing transgender athletes to compete against girls. Biden claims trans rights are human rights. Okay, fair comment, and they are. Trans rights are human rights. No one's disputing that. We do want to give equality to all, but there needs to be a line in the sand to make sure that we're still treating both men and women separately, fairly. And that's where this treads dangerously on erasing women's sports, because that's exactly what we're doing here. We will push women out of sports, because what is sports all about at the end of the day? It's about winning. Everybody wants to win. Coaches want their players to win. The audience pays tickets to watch teams win. So at the end of the day, we want people to win. So if you have a handful of transgender men playing on a women's sport, we want to see that team win. We don't care anymore whether it's a woman or a man. So if you're going to allow all these transgender now to play on a women's team, they better win, because that's all I care about at the end of the day. So what's a coach going to do? Now stack that team with all men? Because what if one school has one transgender on the team, but another school has 10? Well, you better believe that other school is going to start recruiting more transgender men who identify as women to make sure there's an even playing field. So before you know it, we just canceled women's sports. That's all that this executive order is doing. Let's over to the keyboard warrior Cam and see what the American people say about the insanity of this executive order. Laura says, not fair. A boy competing as a girl with other girls will almost always win. Surprise, boys are built differently than girls. They are more muscular due to testosterone. Girls using testosterone are thrown out of competition. This is not right. That's a great point. If girls are caught using testosterone, they get thrown out. They are disqualified. So now you have men identifying as women who are just jacked with testosterone competing alongside women who are not allowed to take testosterone. It's illegal. So right there, the whole thing, the whole argument is flawed. It can't work. R. Scott says, goodbye female sports. No more scholarships for your daughters who now compete with the men. Did Biden think about any of this before he started signing away? Did the Democrats sit down and have a conversation, or did they once again recklessly and impulsively sign executive orders with no real thought process as to how this situation would play out? Ariel Davidson of the Jewish Institute for National Security of America wrote on her Twitter feed, sad day for women's sports. Women must now compete against biological males at the risk of injury and loss of title. Thanks to a new Biden executive order, don't ever tell me this is a pro-woman. It's not. It's destructive and malicious. So soon after, she came on Twitter. This is Ariel Davidson of the Jewish Institute of the National Security of America. After she came out with this, guess what starts trending? Hashtag Biden erased women. And rightly so, because that is exactly what this executive order is doing. It's erasing women. And you better believe there's going to be a handful of men who all of a sudden who aren't good enough to play pro. Guess what? They're turning transgender. They're going to go put their high heels on, raise their hand and say, actually, I identify as a woman now. And who's to stop them? Who's going to actually tell that man, you're not gay? Whose right is it to tell him? He might be gay this year. He might not be the next year. It's no one's business to tell him how he should feel, right? So every male now who cannot qualify or is not good enough to play at a men's level are going to start playing at the women's level. They'll be gay for a few years for all they care. It's going to pay the paycheck or it's going to pay the bills. So why not? So now we're going to have a handful of men straight up lie about identifying as women. And who's going to be able to call them out?